General Mark Dreyfus wants how security for telcos, or I suppose any privacy laws, how easily they can be broken. In the light of that Optus debacle, Mark Dreyfus wants privacy laws overhauled now than later. And he's questioned why Optus kept customers' personal document identification numbers for years, even if they'd gone away from Optus, gone to another provider, another telco, and yet Optus hung on to their details. That gave the hacker, whomever he or she is, a great opportunity to get involved. As we know, the hacker said, too many eyes on me, I'm pulling out, sorry about all that. $1 million ransom was withdrawn. Got to tell you, $1 million for a telco like Optus would be petty cash. It wouldn't be anything if they wanted to pay it. But of course, like terrorists, you don't pay terrorists, you don't pay hackers as well. On Wednesday, the government called for Optus to pay for replacement passports and also driver's license. Now, we mentioned this when we talked to a couple of authorities on Wednesday when it was announced, if you had your driver's license hacked or your numbers and you're a bit worried about that, you go to Service New South Wales, get it replaced for $29. Service New South Wales, I think, were caught a little off guard with that declaration. Be kind to them. They're just doing it. They're just the messenger.
Tuesday, You Breakfast with Richard Perno. Tuesday, You Breakfast, a part of your life.
Telco's dropping in and out. Matthew Dickinson, we got you there?
Hopefully there wasn't anything to do with my account being hacked, Richard.
I hope it wasn't either. You see, we still have problems, don't we, with telecommunications across this vast brown land of ours anyway. But before we get to things of state in regard to the council business, you as an operator of a shop that looks after customers, how worried were your customers?
Well, this one was interesting because it was specifically about Optus, but it is something that's real, and the biggest thing with this one is that it wasn't anything you could do individually. This was a breach for the organisation. So the real risk here, Richard, is someone's identity being stolen. You can go and change your passwords, make sure they're all up to date, but things you can't change are things like your date of birth, your name. In the scenario you mentioned before where Service New South Wales will let you change your driver's licence for $29, that makes sense because driver's licence number, passport numbers, these things are used by telcos to make sure that you are who you say you are. When you walk into a store to say, can I change my SIM card, please? Can I create a new account? So that's the issue here.
Now, you deal with Telstra, don't you?
Absolutely right.
Okay, why can't what you're telling me Telstra couldn't be hacked like Optus was?
Well, hopefully any organisation, Optus included, spends so much time and money stopping the ability for anyone to hack them, stopping those breaches. And of course, the world's not perfect, mistakes happen, but there are people in organisations like Telstra, like Optus, like any large organisation, that's their job, that's what keeps them awake at night, trying to stop hackers getting in, because people are out there trying to do it constantly. And the reward for them in those big telcos is potentially huge. I mean, $1 million ransom, as you said, that's nothing. They could potentially make tens of millions out of this.
Yep. So how do you know Telstra couldn't be hacked like this?
Well, you hope these organisations are spending so much of their time and effort stopping them.
Well, you hope Optus, if you're one of those 9 million customers, you hope Optus would do it too.
That's right. There's no reason that it can't definitely never, ever happen. All you're hoping is that the organisations you are dealing with, you have trust in those to make sure that it doesn't happen. But there are some examples across the world where big organisations have been hacked and the consequences have been drastic.
Well, every time, we turn around, there's scams, aren't there? You don't know whether the thing you're receiving on your emails or getting in the post or when you pick up your phone, you don't know whether it's real or not. Are you really my daughter? Can you give me some true, that's the kind of, if you like, nervous life we're now living. Is everything we're doing now phony?
Well, and that's the thing. The mum and dad scam is a popular one where people are getting messages saying, I'm overseas at the moment, Mum, can you help me out? I just need a bit of money.
Yep.
Even the one with the Optus, there were 10,000 names and addresses released by the hackers. And then what happened was people got hold of those 10,000 and started sending those people messages saying, I've got your details, I'm the hacker, pay me $2,000 individually and I'll delete your details. Now, those people didn't have those details. Those people weren't the hackers. They were taking advantage of the fact that information was now in the public arena. And so people were being held to ransom, if you like, for $2,000, but they were never going to have their information withheld because they weren't the hackers.
Yep, it just makes for more nervous life. We have this wonderful intelligence now, all this cyber stuff we can do, and yet it's going to break us I think it's going to break us. Well, because of the dropout, we're just running a little out of time. I want to ask you, as I've done with Murray Wood, and I just spoke with Craig Davies from Narromine, this amendment by IPART for 3.7% rather than the 0.7 they ashamingly gave us. What's that going to do to your council?
Well, it's certainly going to help us keep track. I mean, inflation rate, in some areas they're talking about in the last month, for example, it might have been 6.8%. What you're trying to do with a rate peg is hoping that you're not putting council rates up so far that it's a burden on individuals, on ratepayers, but also you want to make sure that the council itself can run at a reasonable level of income that can continue to maintain services. 3.7, as I said, is much better than the 0.7%, but still some councils are applying for much more than that. I saw Camden councils being given about 6.8%. Armidale councils applied for 50% over 3 years. And this is the problem. You do have a severe impact on various councils across the state with various inflationary pressures.
Yeah, but it won't give you much. I mean, the rates are only, if you like, a drop in the bucket, aren't they, for council expenditure?
We get very roughly $40 million from rates out of a budget of about $240 million. So rates are important to us, definitely. We know we've got that $40 million coming in, but it's not everything that we receive.
Yeah. So that'll start in the 2020, and they're asking for consultation as stakeholders. You can go online and put your submissions in on that too. A couple of really quickies. Pat on the back for the zoo. Two finalist nominations for the tourism award. The jail's in there as well, so it's a couple of good things.
A couple of great tourist facilities there. The jail and the zoo are fantastic for bringing people to Dubbo and keeping them here for longer.
Yep. All right. We hope next time with the line time break. Enjoy your weekend. Thank you, Matthew Dickerson. Thanks for your time.
Thanks, Richard.
It's 8 o'clock.